here. You got Zerg. I'm just gonna plus it a couple times. So I'm not 100% sure on how best to wall off. This is an extra wide ramp, so this is usually the wall off I do against it. And then I saw this, and I'm not 100% sure what the timing is. So to wall off like I'm doing and being really greedy, it's really important to know what time. And I really think that Suzuki should have made 4 Zerglings, maybe 5 or 6 Zerglings, and then walk them across the map to poke around. 6 Zerglings would probably be pretty good. Because 4 Zerglings is more like, okay, it's your typical scout. 6 Zerglings, like, oh man, is he swarming Zerglings? That might have forced me into a bit more defensive position. But then again, maybe he doesn't want that.
No, because
he does
want
the Nidus, right?
Right, he didn't even make the queen or anything. He just like rushed that lair as fast as he can.
Yeah, and that's why I forced out the Zealot, because I was expecting Lings, and then I wanted to make sure I got Sentry out because of Banelings. So, right, and then the really fast lair. I needed to see that timing. It's the Nidus. Do I even have? Yeah, I'm saving Sentry. I don't even have a Hallucination Scout Sentry at this point in time. APM's still a little bit low. I should have looked at the Zealot when I got into the base. So at this point in time, I saw no third.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was suspicious, and it really was.
Did you see the Nidus? Oh yeah, you did, because you pulled.
Yeah, I see the Nidus right here.
So they actually buffed the Nidus so that.
Yeah, so the correct response right here should not have been. I didn't know if I could kill the Nidus or not. Now I know this Nidus is beefy. I wonder if it got hit point upgrades or something, but this Nidus is too beefy. So in this position, do not do this. What you need to do is maybe cancel this probe, take these probes, evacuate them to the main base, leave 1 or 2 probes, and build right there, right here. You want to build a gateway next to this gateway, blocking it in. And then you can also come over here and maybe build a pylon, between the ramp and the minerals, and maybe another couple pylons walling off. So you have this nice impenetrable wall that these will flood into, and then watch your main base, because you'll try to Nidus in there. But because you'll watch, I didn't really expect the 7x square to be finished, but you'll see right here, there would be a gateway in front of my Stalker, and I had a sentry here to force field the ramp in that ramp area to protect it, and I'd be pretty protected as a little cove with the ability to just keep warping in units from these 2 gateways. And when that popped, this sentry should have been in that little cubby hole anyway. And the thing he would probably do is waste time by coming down to kill this pylon, and I would have already had backup pylons being produced on the top of the ramp, slowly, getting that supply. And then if he did go to kill this pylon, then I just win the game, because what he should be doing is coming in and trying to bust the pylon wall, or trying to sneak in past the Nexus, or spamming Niduses there. So that could be another thing. You could try to bust that pylon and then put a Nidus in, and then you can flood things across the map. But I'd be in a 100% better position if because I even have the money for it, is all I make is 1 extra gateway to block, and maybe 1 or 2 pylons between the mineral and the Nexus, and 100% hold this. Bam. Unless he even if he floods in with Nidus, I don't need to do a full wall off at my natural. If I see the Nidus at my in my base, I could just pull all of my probes to my natural, and all I need to do is build up enough of an army, because his economy is crap. He's not even doing anything.
He has less than half your work.
Yeah. So all I gotta do is build up enough of an army to just contend him, push him back, clear out, go on 2 bases, drop down, go up to 6 gateways, walk across the map, and kill him. So 100% lost because I thought I could kill that. So I almost did. Right? Yeah. Just build the it's not even worth it. I would lose even if I did kill that, I'd lose all those probes, and it's not worth it. Gateway, Nexus. So. And then secondly here, I should have stopped and evacuated those probes. The second thing I should have done is bring these 2 guys on the top, sacrifice the bottom, make sure this Nidus in my base doesn't get up, and just go onto 1 base and then force myself out. But That's almost almost entirely a losing scenario, even if I did hold my main base, because all he does is go back, uses Lings for map pressure, and just flood 2 bases and take a third base. He might even take the third base first. I would recommend it. I just flood a bunch of do a full round of drones, and then take a third base. And I'm barely getting my second base. He's on 3 bases with full macro. So run up into your main base is definitely, and trying to rebuild from there is definitely not the right thing. Like the only thing I could do is 1 base all in, and which could work, depending on how. If he was overly greedy, it'd kill him. But if not, then he's got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to see is, could I should have just built this. How close did I get to killing the Nidus?
I think if you had a Stalker there, you would have definitely killed it, but then he would have put a Nidus in the main.
Yeah, well, when I saw the Nidus, I totally forgot I had the Stalker up here. Or I would have brought it down. There was a chance that if I grabbed the Stalker fast enough, I could have prevented that Nidus, and then that's even a worse position for him. The Zealot sent it out across the map. Maybe that should have been a probe. Should have maybe kept the Zealot at home. But I was being pretty greedy. I was expecting him to have gone into 3 bases. And then that Zealot walking in is just really super annoying because it gets 1 or 2 kills and forces out some more Lings and stuff. So I 100% thought it was either going to be Zergling, Baneling, or 3 bases really off of fast speed. All right, good game.
Yeah.
But we brought it back in the second game, right?
You want to
watch this? Yeah, I'm gonna watch the second game because I wonder what it looked like, what he was doing.
Which one was the second game?
Against Orange Caramel.
Okay, got it.
The retired 5-time GM against the 1-time GM. Yeah, when I saw him load up the High Templar into the Warp Prism, I knew if I could get that, I pretty much have won the game at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty good holding, or at least intercepting that drop.
Yeah. While I was trying to intercept it, I was I really hope it doesn't go to my third base. Because
he was actually going to your third base, but he didn't actually push in.
Because at that timing in the game, my natural or my main base is so low on minerals that it might not even be worth. I could have evacuated my probes already. So at this point, you can tell this probe is pretty lazy by Orange Caramel. When I saw that, I'm like, yep, he's equal to or more rusty than I am. Besides watching the last game, because this probe is pretty idle. My probe is pretty idle. We both scouted rather quickly because I was saying he might cannon rush me. He was probably saying he might cannon rush me. We might cannon rush each other. But no, it was a little bit more of a gentleman's game and stuff. Now, when I scouted, my build order was messed up a little bit. I saw that he got gas before me, and he saw that too. So that's probably what prompted him to go air. Because even if I was going air Oracle, he would win the air battle with just having more gas to produce more Phoenixes. And when I saw I had more gas, or he had more gas than me, I'm like, I need to be careful because there's a chance that he can go proxy DT. Because I thought about going proxy DT myself, but instead I wanted to go. I was like, maybe I'll go Warp Prism DT, and then do some Archon harasses, which would have been better overall. And I think he should have done that. That might have been a better strategy. So I like double chrono boosting out these warp gates because even though I go for stalkers, usually I go 4 stalkers. I wasn't really expecting him because he was so heavy in gas. I wasn't expecting him to go for 2 adepts because he'd be too gas heavy. So, but chrono boosting these, they always think that they're oracles, or not oracles, but adepts. They always think they're adepts, and they'll run away. And I was hoping to force a reaction out of him across the map. So it was like a metagame thing. And it could give me a chance to get my expansion down faster because he's expecting the adepts. and it kind of worked out. So he saw us expanding. He saw I had no stalkers. He was able to expand, being pretty safe from adepts.
So he actually made 4 stalkers.
Yep, and that was the reaction I was expecting. I was expecting either a wall off, 4 stalkers, because 4 stalkers will kill 2 adepts, and they'll only get 2 kills, maybe 3 kills. And then, getting the shield battery, apparently that's what you're supposed to do. Out of all the WCS and GSL replays I've watched in the past few days, just get the shield battery. But I was a little too slow. I should have got it faster, because it should have been done by this timing. I was kind of hating myself.
And it looks like he overextended a little bit too.
He did, but he should have killed that second sentry. So the proper thing to do is go up, kill all sentries, and then back out. But he wanted to just kind of take out my whole army and then get up there and pretty much do damage, and that would have probably won the game, just because my shield battery is too late. Because I was being more greedy than him. Since I did macro, and I didn't do adepts, that was his cue to just push across. I do the same thing when I go for stalkers against people who go adept. As soon as I hold adept, I immediately go across the map to see. Basically, it's you're seeing if they are a good player, right? If they got supply blocked, you'll have more units. You'll be able to get some damage. You're punishing their mistakes. It's just keeping them honest.
So
and that's what he did.
The DT shrine, it might have been better to maybe build it at your proxy.
Well, it's always hard on where you're. I could have probably built it down there, right? I didn't think about it. But yeah, it got scouted, so I was like, okay, mind game. We'll go into the better tech anyway. We'll just go into disruptors.
Mm-hmm. And that worked out really well because he was going Zealot Archon.
Yeah, and I was hoping, and it did force Robotics Bay, because he probably would not have gone Robotics Bay otherwise. Zealot Archon is pretty powerful regardless. You really need Colossus, Archons, or Disruptors of yourself to kind of handle it. Otherwise, it turns into a position fight. I'd probably lose. If he came to attack, it'd be hard to defend it. And he could do some damage and pull out. And even if I had upper hand in a fight, I can't really chase him down. And then he could have a better defensive position with no damage taken. So you really don't want to match your opponent's army being on tier 1 units like that. And I scouted these Phoenixes, but I thought they're hallucinations. When I saw the first one at his natural over here. So did I even have vision of... Well, I guess I do now, but... So when I saw these Phoenixes, I was thinking, all right, I need to get Blink. So when I first saw them, you would have noticed that's immediately when I started my Blink timing to try and punish them. And then I was like, well, I want to push out, but I don't want them to sit on top, because he might be swarming a lot of them. I want to sit on top of my probe. So I went for the Forge to drop down maybe 1 cannon in each spot. Because the idea against Phoenixes, as far as how I play against them, I don't know what other professionals do, is you want to keep them running around, and when they come in, you want to push them out and then immediately run across the map, and then they'll come in and oh, he's not here, he's out of position, he's probably defending his main or something, and they'll waste their energy killing probes, and you're like, whatever, dude. And you're halfway across the map with your army, you walk in and you kill them, because they have a lot of army supply in Phoenixes with no energy. And even if they get across the map, each Phoenix can maybe lift 1 unit at a time, maybe 1 unit, and then they're pretty much out of the fight, and you have an army advantage. And with Protoss vs. Protoss, that's how you win. If I have 1 more Zealot than you, I win the game, right? So that was the idea I was going for. But he never, he didn't really commit too much to the Phoenixes. And then I wanted to maybe get something with his Warp Prism, but at about this point in time, when I select the Warp Prism, I was like, you know what? Fuck. Okay. I should not have gone for the expansion, because every Protoss and their mom puts most of their army at the expansion. It would have been better just to go for the main. I didn't want to be intercepted by Phoenixes, so another option could have been I just waited and hope that the Phoenixes don't kill me, and maybe bring my Observer down to watch the ramp, and as soon as he pushes out, just fly in and drop them guys. But I was hoping, maybe he's not watching, because he's pretty rusty like me, so maybe I could just float in through and take the Terran route. We'll just humble fly through your base and then drop, right? Hey, don't pay attention to me. I'm just a medevac. I'm here to help people. We're here to heal. I'll heal your probes. Yeah. I was like, maybe he'll think I'm pink, he's orange. Maybe he'll think I'm his warp prism. But no, it didn't work out at all. So this was a waste. I should have just abandoned it and went back when I realized my mistake. I was thinking about dropping 2 there to delay him and then drop 2 up here, but and I was like, and I thought about picking up these guys to run around, but then his phoenixes came in from the top, and then I saw his phoenixes down there, and I was like, okay, we're good. I started, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on 2 gateways. Oops. So I just flooded gateways because I should not be on 2 gateways at this point. I should have had more gateways down. Now, I was expecting him to come in to the main, so I brought a lot of my guys here. I left a couple guys down there, and then I saw this, and I was like, we'll just evacuate. And he had a little bit of delay too, so it was macroing. So he got that 1 probe. And then I want to make sure that the phoenixes don't come and take the disruptors. So I huddled the disruptors over here. I was gonna have I was getting ready to have my sentry do guardian shield, and then warp in some more stuff. But he chose to go to the main, which is why I want him. But I was kind of, we both kind of derped out here. He kind of floated in and then left his units here. I didn't even pay attention until too late. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of that, because if every phoenix kill is good. And my goal is I wanted to get up to like 4 disruptors, but I wasn't really good at producing them. So now all I need. So then I saw the warp prism come in. I saw the warp prism. Like if we go back, I don't know if you guys were watching my vision at all.
We saw that you did see the warp prism. Yes.
So let's see. Bam. Did it fly out yet? I wonder what point did I see the warp. Man, was that warp prism there for a while? Probably should have went out faster. Anyway, at some point in time, I saw the warp prism, and I wanted to intercept it, but I didn't know what flight path. The proper flight path is to come down here in the bottom.
But you have stalkers in 2 places.
Yeah, but I was like, well, he might be doing a lazy, like straight across. So I wanted to cover this whole flank. I brought all my stalkers, and I was like, I could probably intercept the phoenixes down here too if they come. And pretty much at this point, I was like, I really hope they don't come over here. So I made sure I had some stalkers over here, but I was really afraid that they'd actually come over here, because he could lift these phoenixes up and then chase these guys, and then kill these guys with the 2 archons. And I would have to bring in, like, I did not want to bring these guys over there. So, and he did kind of take the lazy flight path. At this point, I was kind of beating myself up because I saw this, and I was like, wait, get the warp prism. And I almost didn't. He dropped out. He should have just pulled back. If he would have pulled back instead of dropping these guys to sacrifice them, 100% he would have got out of there. And I would have chased him and probably killed them like over here. And he could have brought this army to contest my stalkers and probably get a good result. He might even, depending on how fast they got there, he might have even been able to keep the prism alive.
I was a little bit afraid all your stalkers were gonna die because the archons were so close and they were clumped.
Oh no, they do like baby damage against non-biological. And stalkers are fat, so the archon splash at best hits 3 stalkers. Yeah. I think he could have survived the warp prism if he would have went over this ramp and then went across this chasm to intercept with his army, if he'd have brought his army down. And then the phoenixes went in. I'm like, that's fine. He should have just manned up and just went for economic damage. But then again, he would have lost at least 1 or 2 phoenixes. I don't know. And then since I saw the phoenixes, I was warping in my natural to protect them. I still had these these over here. Oh man, these guys died. That's unfortunate for them. They stalled.
Yeah, you could have blinked your stalkers out there.
Yeah, my camera was not even there. Like, I saw orange on my mini map over there, and I was like immediately like F1. Where's my army? Give my army. I need my army right now. I forgot about those 4 stalkers. Luckily, I didn't take too much economic damage from that. And his third base is slow. Like, so in Protoss versus Protoss, unless they're going for a really sick 2-base timing, you can almost always get this third base up really fast. That's why I dropped it really quick, because if he's macroing, usually what a lot of Protosses will do is just drop down a bunch of tech, get some upgrades, get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I'm over here like, okay, I'll take a tech disadvantage, and maybe I'll just try and defend off and maybe blink, charge, and maybe like a disruptor or two or something, and in exchange, I'll get a third base up. So if they don't kill me while I'm getting that third base up, I'll have an economic advantage, and as soon as I have enough, all I have to do is stall for time. I just have to build up the disruptor count, maybe get some Colossus, and then I win. And it's up to him to be aggressive while getting his third base up to try and equalize it. Because his goal is to either force me to not produce probes while he catches up, or force me into making a mistake where he can, like, you pressure the third, keep my army there, then you send zealots into my natural. Because look, like the zealots came in, they would kill this disruptor, they would pretty much fuck up all of this stuff. Maybe send 2 zealots straight to the main. Whether or not you remember there's a photon cannon there, or maybe even bring a warp prism. So the proper thing to do when you're this far behind is pressure the third with your army, maybe take down these rocks, send 4 zealots up, take out this disruptor if you can get it, go into the main, have your warp prism come in, and just start like warping into here, trying to force me out of position, and keep poking this third base, and just pretty much stretch me thin with yours while you're getting your stuff up. And you're probably even cutting probes at this point. You want to pull back into producing probes or something, or just transfer these guys from the main, and just be on an extended 2-base. But he didn't do that, and I think that's what gave me the game. Because when I saw how big his army was when he pressed, I was like, I can take that. And that's what prompted me to immediately just move out. I'm like, I had a couple good pots, and I went for adepts because I didn't want to charge into chaos with these things. That's what I was going for. And then he let me get some really nice record shots.
Yeah.
And you can't run. You can't run Archons away from the Stalkers. Game over.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pretty much my plan from the start. Was to try and get a huge economic advantage and then ride that into a good engagement. And then of course my minerals float to the heavens. Right? just like every good player is like, oh, I'm attacking. All right, we'll just stop warping in. I should have really brought a warp prism. I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, I wish I could. I should have brought a warp prism. Because bringing the warp prism will make it easier for you to spend your minerals, because you don't have to like go all the way back to your base to do it.
You want to watch the other 2 games as well?
Sure, why not? Star Viper played, and you played, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with your game. I was like, I hope.
Well, I watched his replay, so I knew how he would play.
Yeah.
Because he usually goes 2-gate robo into a fast third, and I was like, I could just do a tank push onto that, and then I knew he usually goes storm and then Colossi after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of reasons. I've been forcing the storm a lot just because my gas becomes like 600. I'm like, what the fuck am I spending this gas on? And usually, that's because I dropped my forges too late. Like if you on 2 bases, if you have double forge, your gas should be pretty decent with Zealot Stalker. But if you drop your forges late, your gas will go through the ceiling, and then you're usually like panicking into another tech. Like, I better drop. I don't know. Storm's pretty good. Yeah. I need, because there's probably gonna be a push coming soon, so maybe I can stall for storm. Maybe I could always get the Archons if I need to, or because going Colossus too early, especially against Raven openers, like if they tap and you got 1 Colossus, it kind of feels bad. Having some force fields helps with that, but you can start.
Oh, you're the host.
Oh, I'm the host. All right. Yeah, I wasn't even looking at the lobby. I was looking at the replay screen. All right. Terran versus Terran.
Yeah.
Let's see how this goes. I wish I could zoom out. Oh wait, maybe I can. Actually.
You press Z, I think. Z zooms out.
All right, that's better. It's a little bit of a zoom. So we got what's this? Star Viper going or no? Did he go for mech play?
No.
Or is this normal? I don't know Terran strategy.
Well, one thing is, I guess you need a good build order. And also, you need to get an orbital command as fast as possible, because that gets you a lot of minerals. And it also lets you, like... That's... I guess, like, because, like, Protoss can chrono to get workers faster, and Zerg can make workers pretty fast. Terran's way to do it is to overmine a base with mules. So you can fully saturate it, and then you can mine it even more with mules.
Well, yeah, and you can make a safe command center in your main base to help with more mules and stuff, and then float it out. It's less of a commitment for Terran, or Terran can expand the safest.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So I would have liked to see maybe like a tech lab since you're going for bio. This maybe a faster tech lab.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you don't get stim, getting combat shields is really important. And it's also like, well, what do you expect to see that early in the game? You get a couple Reapers, yeah, that'll fuck you up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mass Reapers, he probably would have just killed you, because with this small amount of Marines. I think that's why he opened up kind of the Hellions and stuff, and end up a Reaper.
Mm-hmm. This is a pretty standard opening from him. At least the very beginning of it. The rest of it is kind of a little bit weird, but yeah, the Reaper Hellion stuff, like almost every Terran does that.
I say blue. From what I've seen of Terran versus Terran, blue looks like a standard Terran build. With red, I'm not really sure. Red looks like something I would do. You know, like I got some stuff here.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Thought I'd hop in. Hit a few.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just casting the games again because I forgot to turn the stream on.
Yeah, blue looks pretty good here. We got some AFK. Got 4. That's a huge. So you kind of want to get these SCVs minus as soon as possible, because it takes them they get like is it 4 or 8 minerals per whatever. Regardless, it's like 6 trips for them to pay for themselves at 5 seconds a piece. That's like 30 seconds. So every SCV you build takes 30 seconds to pay for itself before it gives you a net gain, right? So the longer they take to pay for themselves, the more of an economic disadvantage you are at. Damn, this is scary. It probably was scary since the game is almost over.
Yep.
Like, so one thing I'm kind of looking at here is you went for factory with Tech Lab, but I don't see a single factory unit.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that I had them because I put them. I normally don't put them up there. I usually put them farther south.
Oh, you're making a second factory next to the first factory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually you definitely want to have at least like a tank on the high ground here, and maybe like a tank back here, just to defend these kind of pushes. And then maybe get a couple Viking. Like, you want to scan and see what they have, because you want to prevent these Ravens from basically anti-armor missile, or they could drop an auto turret on top of the tank and kill it. You want to prevent that. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was going, I'm going to go with these 2 guys to disable tanks. So his Ravens were probably meant to disable tanks. He didn't see any tanks, so he just dropped turrets or whatever. And then the Viking count is meant to shoot down yours to give his tanks superior range. So this was probably just a timing push, kind of an all-in timing push.
It is definitely all in. Like, Terran should usually have a third base at like 4 or 5 minutes in TVT.
Well, he has enough minerals. He can just drop a base right now and say it's not an all-in. Right? It's not an all-in if your opponent doesn't also have a third base. That's the rule of StarCraft. and it's not all in if you kill their third base, and then it's banned. Yeah. This Terran vs. Terran is a pretty hard matchup because it is a lot of positioning and patience. That's why I don't play Terran, is I don't have enough patience.
And at least early game, like the first 10 minutes, like you said, you can map that out. Like you could say, if I see, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Yeah. Step one is map out the 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And you can even practice like a build order. Like you can watch like a pro game, or even if you want to come up with your own, that's fine. It's just like, keeping your money low. So usually if you're playing Terran, you can, if you're just like alone, like in a map, and you're like playing against like easy AI or something, you can usually max out in 9 minutes. So that's like
what I used to do to train people back when I coached them, because I could do the same thing with Star Viper here, because I'd go into a single player against the easiest AI, and then I would just macro to max, building a decent army. Like I'll go three barracks, Stargate, factory, and then I'll put in like 2 more barracks, and then this and that. And I'd say you want to do the same thing I did. Okay, basically want to make the good army. You don't want to get supply blocked at any point in time, and you want to max out at least as fast as I did. And then I would say, okay, so now we're gonna have you do the same thing, but with an SCV scout, we're gonna do the same. It's just kind of like there's like a old macro micro maps back in the day where you're supposed to macro, and then you have to keep one unit moving over on the other side of the map, because if he stops, you lose. Right? I don't know if you ever played any of these maps, but because the first step is building a correct army. The second step is how to use that army. So what I'm doing with practices online is I'm playing pretty much the same build every time, because as long as I'm spending to keep my money low, even if I lose, I didn't lose because they had a better army than me. I didn't lose because they're an overpowered race. I lost because I used my army and I used what I had poorly. Like perhaps my soccer should have been out in the middle of the map. The build order is not bad. It's I can use it correctly. And that's probably what would help anybody the most. Is just play one build order over and over again until you can use your army properly. And once you think you're really good at that build order, and you're probably Master League by now with that one build order for each race, so maybe 3 build orders, right? Then learn a second one, because the only reason you ever need a second build order is if you're matching against the same people, and those are only people that can mitigame you. At the lower ranks, you're matching against enough different people, and they're probably bad enough they're not going to necessarily remember you. And if they remember you today, they won't remember you tomorrow. So the build order will still trick them, and they're trying to practice things too that people are not metagaming you. But once you get up towards the top, like top master, grandmaster, you're playing against the same people. And if you want to continue to win against the same people, well, you can't do the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't try to do different things too early. That's probably the biggest advice. Is just, if you lose, you lose, right? Who cares?
Yes.
Use your army better next time. And if you if you're like, I'm not moving out, I defend I'm set up at my my natural, and I'm consistently dying at my natural. No matter what, they just come and crush me. I tried putting tanks here and there and there. Then, well, I guess with your strategy that you're doing, your army should not be defending at your natural. Maybe there's a timing. So look at, is there a good spot where I can push them with my army? Oops. Should I intercept them in the middle of the map? Should I be harassing? What is my build order designed to do? Because if you're spending all your money and you're building units, right? You're not just building nonstop SCVs. This is the only unit you're building. Then whatever you're building should be capable of doing something. I could probably build straight Marines against the Terran, and there's probably something that I can do with them. Some timing. Maybe I put them in the middle of the map and intercept armies. Maybe I surround them like Zerglings or something, right? There should be something that I can do.
There's actually a GM Terran on ladder, and all he does is he makes Marines. Like literally just Marines.
See, exactly.
Who is that?
Guy Sensei.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I played him a couple of times, and like, yeah, and he's like, his build is just so optimized. He just has like a shit ton of marine, super fast.
Yeah, pretty
So
much
he
any.
just gets, like spamming combat shields and then just mass marines.
Yeah, and he wins with it.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So first step is to build an army, and then the second step is figure out how do you use that army to win. And no build order, no strategy wins 100% of the time. So you should expect to lose sometimes. And don't get mad. You're like, whenever I lose, I'm like, yeah, I expect to lose. You know? Even if I lose against a gold player, I'm like, yeah, well, I made the mistake. Right? I should have scouted better. So far, everything looks pretty standard. I don't see anything. Like when I was first watching this, I was like, oh man. So far, Orange Carmel's build is pretty good. He got his Nexus down. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he has practice. I see, he's not really putting anything on the gas right now. So I'm like, okay, maybe he knows something I don't, because at this point in time, like this first 2 minutes were really solid. And then this came in here. So this is kind of like the first mistake. So here's the Adept. The Adept is way out here and is trying to shade in. And I think your Reaper is too weak, that you should not go for economic damage. And as soon as you see this Chrono Boost in the gateway, just get out. Just get out, hop down, and heal up. Okay? Because at 3.5 minutes, at this point in time in the game, you might see like a Stargate, you might see a Robo, or you might see Blink, right? But you also might not see anything because it could be proxied on the map.
The Adept was kind of zoning out there, so I thought I would use the Reaper anyways.
And yeah, and you did survive one hit, so you could have, if you didn't like stutter a little bit. So if we go back a couple seconds, so we'll watch in super slow motion. And one thing I saw is you did have enough hit points to hit, but you stuttered, or you just kind of gave up, and then he died. So this comes up, you take the hit, and then right there, dropping that mine, you shouldn't have done that. You would have made it out 100%, because this Adept is in the wrong spot. Typically, the Adept should have pincered attacked up top while the Stalkers on the bottom. But either way, when you saw the Chrono Boost, just get out, heal, and then try to come back in. Because, there's not a whole lot. Or maybe instead of coming around behind, just poke around the front, and then hop out, right? But you might have been intercepted by that Adept, so. I think too many Terrans throw, like, Protoss feels really good. I feel really happy, really safe. There's a lot of stress gone from me when that Reaper is dead, okay? Not because he can come in and kill a bunch of probes. It's just I don't want Terran to know what I'm doing at all. Mm-hmm. So we're going on, he sends the Adept across the map, which is pretty good. This is some good scouting. That was good by Slumdog to raise the thing and push the Adept back. Yep, so that's pretty good. Now, this is the point in time where Protoss should be taking the third base. So when I saw this, like roughly around 4 minutes, 4:30 is at the latest, is when that third base should be going down. Because if we look across the map, like Terran has a handful of Marines, a couple guys for defense, and the Adept, if you keep shading the depth, so the whole purpose of keeping the depth across the map and shading in every once in a while is an integrity check. It's saying, did you leave any Marines back behind? Did you leave anything behind? If not, I can get some economic damage done. And while I'm getting economic damage done, I'm in panic mode. I'm dropping like shield battery. I'm building some things up because you're trying to do a little push, right? So it's kind of retaliate. It's make the push painful. But if letting this guy die pretty early by not occasionally shading in and making sure that at least a couple units are back, because as soon as the attack gets close, he can just recall the Adept to help. And the reason that's important is recalling the Adept to help means you have at least 2 or more units that are not in the fight, and I have all of my army to defend. And you just kind of pull back. So if we look at that expansion, the expansion would have been fully up by the time Blue was any of the wiser. And that's another reason why you want to keep that Reaper up, is even if you can't get into Scout, like you poke in and he's got too much zoning, you can at least know exactly when that third base timing is, and then even plan around that. Be like, oh shit, I'm going to go and attack now, right? So instead of going for the third base, which would be about half done by now, he drops 2 gateways. And if you look at his money, he can still afford. He had 700 minerals when he should have dropped it. He's got 600 minerals now. If he had dropped it, he'd be at 245. He can still afford everything he's dropping right now and still have this base coming up. Okay. Then the scout, yeah, I'm pretty bad at scouting. So I guess he should see that there's a tank push coming because of this tech lab. But I don't even see that. A lot of times I send this across the map, and I don't even look at it. It's just to see if it dies or not. Maybe occasionally I'll look over across the map and be like, okay, I only see like two barracks. Or I'll look on the mini map and I'll see, he doesn't have a whole lot because I don't see a big clump of blue. But I really should get better at that myself. So Slumdog's push is pretty good. Fell a little bit behind on macro, or maybe this is intentional to save money.
No, it was. I forgot to build evo.
Yeah. So he's chrono boosting out Blink. This Blink is a little bit late, but it's all right. It's getting the Forge now, and this Nexus should be online, right? This Nexus should be online by now. Now, since this Blink should have been a little bit faster, but still, these Stalkers need to be out in the map. Like, if you're going this strategy, these Stalkers cannot be idle. You need at least, I don't know, like 6, at least 4 to 6 Stalkers, right? No less than 4. 6 is a good number because you can one-shot Marines. But you just need to buy time and stall. And even if they're not going for the push, you just need to put pressure on them, because if they're not good at macro or micro or whatever, they're gonna get supply block. You're gonna force them in the supply block. That'll give you the edge. You can force them into a later expansion because they might be afraid to push out, or they'll have to be a little bit stronger. It might keep them at home a little bit more. So he didn't really buy himself time here. And then I don't know why he decided to attack these rocks. These rocks are what protect his third base, right? Yeah. Terran's supposed to destroy these rocks. And that 100% let you get into position to just F this up, right? Uncontested. Like, he could have bought a couple seconds up the ramp, forced you to siege down there, and then lift and siege, So he could have got maybe 1 or 2 more warp-ins. But he had a decent amount of, like, AFK probes this whole time. Like, this probe over here was, like, AFK forever. Now, I'm not 100% on board with Slumdog repositioning his Liberator over here. It would be better to reposition Liberator on the ramp, so that way, because typically what you'll see a lot of players do is they'll start either warping in a lot on the low ground over here at the third to kind of sideswipe the army, and warp in on top. So the proper way to bust out of this and possibly not lose the Nexus, or just lose the Nexus but keep the gateways, is you warp in a bunch of stuff on top. You use the Sentry to pop out a hallucinated Immortal. You walk the Immortal down the ramp. You come in from the top and you come in from the ramp at the same time. You sandwich the army. You clean them up. Depending on supply blockage and mineral spends and stuff like that, you can actually save this Nexus and you evacuate the probes. I don't think keeping the repos there. Like, you'll see a lot of pros like sacrifice the probes and then walk across the map and try to kill them. I don't know, but his army is large enough, and he does have Blink, that if he did this, he could clean up those tanks pretty easily. And with his Liberator being out of position like that, very easily I can walk the Immortal down the ramp, not take any damage from the Liberator, and be just fine. Also, since your Liberator is attacking, probes over here, it makes it a little bit weaker that if he does come to sandwich, I can pick off the Liberator, no problem. It would have been better to either, if you're going to be aggressive with it, have it kind of over the ramp, and then if the probes evacuate, you're going to shoot them, right? Or just keep it zoning your tanks and let your tanks take it down, right? Because, like, at this point in time, this Nexus should not survive. You got this Nexus. No need to be super greedy here. You're going to get a huge advantage from taking out that Nexus. And when you're like already this good, you can cancel that second bunker and start trying to maybe plot it down towards the third. Or did you know that there's a third at this point? Yeah, you know there's a third. So you only need really one of those bunkers at this point in time. Like even now, like 100%, you know that Protoss has given up this natural. You can cancel the second bunker, keep the first. Okay. And you'll watch him. He's just nonstop warping in. He'll be nonstop warping in units that he's going to use to push out because this is really the only option. And you should know that this is what Protoss is going to be doing 100% in every of these scenarios because it's the scariest thing and the strongest thing that they can do is intercept units with blink. So be wary about your rally points. And I thought you did a really good job by you're making a bunker back here. Your rally points are going towards your natural because that was another thing that's scary. Sometimes Protoss will do a counterattack and Terran's not paying attention and you get a lot of stuff picked off. And then when they push out and crush this army because you're repositioning or something poorly, they pretty much have bottlenecked and killed most of your over here. They killed all of your army over here. Now they have the army advantage, and all you got is a bunch of like SCVs and a handful of Marines and Marauders that you use to push back the counterattack. So, you got to be really careful with that. Now this reposition for the tank is fine. It's a little bit too far forward. Right now he could go Immortal, crush that tank. You're down to one tank, but you have two bunkers. But that tank is way more important. I think positioning the tank maybe right here would have been better, a little bit more protected by the bunker, or just leave it alone and let's let the Marines depower the two gateways and move on to the third base. Because if you can crush, you just take out these two pylons. It doesn't matter about those gateways, and you go and crush the third base. All you do is pull back and win. You're just like I'm done. You can push out. I don't care. I'm gonna go home. There's no need to contain them. You just take your third base. You have the macro win. You have the macro. Just push with superior upgrades and win.
I forgot Stim in this game.
Yeah. so this was also a really big mistake. You don't want to unsiege both these tanks because this is like a banner. Like I see this tank unsiege. I'm like, even if you got these bunkers and stuff, I can. You probably really should have a couple more sentries to zone because you can zone out your SCVs. They're not going to heal these bunkers. And it's going to take forever to re-siege. You can just take some of these zealots. I don't know if this one's trapped or not. But you can take some of these zealots and then go and take out these tanks. I was kind of expecting him to cancel this Nexus, actually. But he couldn't. He really couldn't afford it. He didn't have the stuff to spend his money.
I wanted to kill the production, like just those two pylons on these gateways, too.
Yeah. That's not really that important. It's more important just to kill this. He can have the production. He just doesn't have any money to spend it on, right? And that's fine. So then here's another, always leave one tank down. Just be patient. Maybe drop a scan over here. You're already economically ahead. You don't necessarily need to be dropping mules at this point in time. And it's really, at this point in time, it's also really nice, instead of producing all these SCVs, drop a command center. You can cut any unit to build production for that unit. So if you cut SCVs and then drop a command center, you'll catch up on SCVs as if you didn't cut them. Okay, so that's why Protoss build orders will cut probes and we'll drop the Nexus, because if I built that probe, my Nexus would be like 12 seconds slower. If I built that Nexus would be 12 seconds faster. So when that Nexus finishes and I build a probe out of it, I would have the Nexus and the probe at the same time as I would have had the probe and the Nexus. Okay. Now, the difference is I can't mine more than 16. I cannot efficiently mine more than 16 probes over here, right? So even if I had that extra probe mining this mineral and this 12 seconds slower Nexus, I'm actually economically behind what I could have been by producing the Nexus and then the probe, because that probe is not being useful, and it's taking that probe even longer to pay for itself. Okay. Same thing with these 22 SCVs over here. Probably would have been better just to go up to 16, do the push as if it was an all-in, drop the command center, and then go back into SCV production. Or not. You can just wait, because you have 3 command centers, and he's got these 2. So you just leave it, use it for like scans and building up energy for mules. And then when you expand, just power through your economy. That would be the safest way to play because you're instead of SCVs, you're committing to army, and you already have the army advantage, and you have the economic advantage because you just took out thousands of minerals worth of stuff. So at this point in time, because you were maybe a little too aggressive, this tank right here should be sieged. There should be like 4 Marines in this one bunker. The second bunker shouldn't even exist. When he comes to push out, he cleans up this army pretty handedly. Like he sees you going right here like this, and that was his cue to come down the ramp.
Yeah, I should have
And
slow pushed it.
you can see this Liberator is even out of position still. Like, what is it even doing? It should be guarding this ramp, right? Or guarding this army. So a little bit late on that. This was cleaned up pretty easily. They bypassed. They got like 1 or 2 shots off, and he was able to clean this up with very minimal losses. Like this is a terrifying army, and he lost almost nothing. He lost very little here, and he just crushed a lot of it. So now, surprisingly, the army tab still shows. Let's see, where's the army tab? I guess it's the units tab, but we got like 7 Marauders, 8 Marines against 10 Stalkers, 5 Zealots. So we're still doing pretty good on the other side of the map. But he could have handled it a little bit better. And then it was good of you. I was pretty happy to see that. I was like, well, if you're going to set up the Liberator, you should just set it up here. You would have got 1 or 2 shots. But even better was just run this guy away, and you did do that, which is good. I was happy to see this Liberator survive. And then from here, besides kind of this idle stuff at the ramp, which I shouldn't do there, I was like, well, some dog pretty much won the game. You can see he's got double the supply. The only way he can lose is to make a mistake. And then, like I was saying before, Protoss is only is that a Liberator? Yeah. Protoss's only comeback is to go for Storm. All right. 100%. It was either Storm or DTs. At this point in the game against Terran, usually DTs are better. And as the observers pointed out, your command center has for all of this game is off by 4 pixels. Okay. So.
I also didn't have stim. I was like, oh my god, I don't have stim.
Yeah. Here, be careful with your medevacs. It's a easy way to beat Terran is killing his medevacs. A lot of times, the medevacs will proceed. You do lose a few medevacs, and other medevacs should have been lost, but you didn't kill them. And I thought this was good, very good. This is very patient. Pick up and leave. You know, he thinks you're there. He's scared. He's panicking. Look, he's warping in, poking around. He's like, where is he? Where is he? And you're like, oh, just back here with my off-center third base, right? With these bunkers that at least one of them should be gone by now. But I don't think there's any need to have 2 of them. But yeah, then I saw these. I was like, it would have been really nice to have this Ghost Academy down a little bit faster. Because one thing to know is when you're doing these all-ins or these pushes, these timing attacks, is what is my opponent's likely follow-ups and how can they win? Well, Storm, like this with 4 Templars can kill all of this. All right, Storm is how you win. And you want to hit Storm before they hit Ghost because it's really easy. Like he can come in and just destroy your third base. And if he comes in and destroys your third base with Storm, look, he's got 3 Nexuses. And you'll have, a command center that maybe floated away and stuff. But this is pretty good. I was pretty happy to see the Widowmine keep up the pressure. Got a handful, ran away. I was like, boost. I was pressing B for you, but oops. I was pressing B for you. And I couldn't do it. Right? I was like, yeah. B. Yeah, and I was like,
definitely gotten away.
Yeah, I was sad. But 4 probes for 2 Widowmines and a medevac, not worth it. 100%. And that's how Protoss comes back, is by defending, and that was pretty good. Like I was like, I wonder, is he gonna get both of them? But yeah. So this was probably it was hard for him. is best, and that was good for you to build up some missile turrets because you're ahead, so you can afford to build things for free. So these missile turrets are free because you're ahead. And you start building this, Ghost Academy when you saw this turn, which is good. A little late though. You could like premonition this because this Ghost Academy is free. You did enough economic damage. You have your third base faster, fully saturated. You basically got this Ghost Academy for free. So you could have thrown it down. Even if you didn't produce a single ghost, just building that was free. So one way of thinking is like, once you do damage and get ahead, how are you going to spend your lead? Okay, are you going to spend it on upgrades? Are you going to spend it on tech units? Are you going to spend it on army? Okay, or are you going to spend it on an expansion? There's things you gotta think about. So like when you do DTs and I kill like six probes or 6 drones or 6 SCVs, you think, whoops, my bad. I'm just clicking around. You want to think, well, okay, that's basically 300 minerals, or 200 minerals and 100 gas, or 200 minerals and 50 gas, depending on how do you want to price it. Usually gas is like 2 to 1. So what can I buy that's 250 or 100? What can I buy? It's a free upgrade. I'll get +1, or I'll throw down my Robo Bay because it's half price today, right? Or me. If you go in and get like 400 minerals worth of damage, like, oh, I'll just drop an expansion. I won't produce any probes or anything because all I bought was the expansion. Because one thing that people make a mistake of is they'll do damage and they're like, oh man, fucking buffet time. I'm gonna get some expansions. I'm gonna get upgrades. I'm gonna produce SCVs in an army. The guy comes across the map and kills you. You're like, fucking Protoss OP or Zerg OP. How did they kill me? Like, well, your army is the same size, right? Their army got bigger because they're pissed. You stuck your hand in the hornet's nest, and you spent your damage plus more on other things. So of course you're going to lose that fight. Your army's tiny because you spent too much money in the future, right? You invest in the stock market, and you need to eat your cheeseburgers today, right? So take a note of how much damage you do, and when you start thinking like that, it becomes a lot better when you go in like, oh, I killed 2 things, great, get out. Okay, what can I spend with those 2 things, right? I'm gonna kill 4 things, right? Cool. What can I spend with that? Or those 4 things made up for my harassment. Because I go in for I build an oracle. I go in, I need to kill 6 things with that oracle for that oracle to be reasonable. Because it costs me 150. That oracle doesn't kill me 6 things, kills 6 things, and that oracle needs to do other types of damage. Like, did I force a turret? Right? I'm not planning on going DTs till later. If I force a turret and I kill 2 things, or if I don't kill anything, I force 3 turrets, then all right, the oracle kind of paid for itself. Maybe I have 50 minerals to the positive, okay? And stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how grandmasters think. That's how when you get better at the game, that's how you think. It's like, I did some damage, what can I spend it on? And then I only did a little bit of damage, so let's not get crazy with what I buy, what I upgrade. Of course, at the later points of the game, when you get 3+ bases, and you have infinite money. The goal is to just keep your money low, but don't keep it so low that your army also stays small. And this is a little bit more. I've even noticed it when I was watching GSL and WCS. I feel like everybody, all the pro players have gotten worse. Have gotten really bad, or the best pro players have just quit the game. So even though MMR is higher than it's ever been, everybody sucks. So if you go back before 2017 and before, every time an observer comes near a Terran army, it's scanned and killed. Observers being on the map was not a thing. Now observers get freaking sieged and they can't even move. They're even easier to kill. And Terrans are letting observers be everywhere, be on top of your army, be on top of statues, be on top of your base, they can see everything. It's War Prism. But yeah, because once you're on 3 bases fully saturated, you don't necessarily need to be dropping mules. Okay, mules are no longer that important. Well, this really should be an orbital, but after you got your 3 orbitals and you're fully saturated and you're more than 150 army, you don't need the mule anymore. what you need to do is make sure that you can get damage done. And when we get damage done is by killing these observers and doing drops and stuff like that. Because, like, I usually put observers here, I put observer here, I put observer here. I think, this is a good spot for an observer, maybe over here to see, and maybe an observer in the middle. So, like, I'll put, like, 6 observers, maybe 4 at the minimum. And, what are you going to do? I can see everything you're doing. And then once I get a high Templar tech, and if I ever get as good as I used to be, I'll put like a high Templar like here. Maybe I'll put like a high Templar here. I'll put another high Templar here. I'll put Templar here. I'll put I'll just draw a line with high Templar, and then I'll have an observer like right here. And I see you push out, you'll run into a Templar number 1. You'll run into Templar number 2, Templar number 3. Maybe kill some medevacs or whatever. Like you try to do a medevac drop over here. This Templar kills your medevacs. There's no army. There's only Templar. And Templar is just storming on top of you. And if you try to get from me, your base to my base, you're going to go, you better bring an umbrella because there's going to be a storm for you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be really annoying. Like you're going to be forced to send ghosts in blind, right? You want to send ghosts in ahead with cloak on, which you don't have. Well, it doesn't matter because if you haven't been scanning observers, I'm going to see your ghost cloaked and I'm just going to feedback them with my one high Templar. Meanwhile, while you're like slowly creeping through the thunderstorm over here, I'm over here, be like, okay, he's coming. He's trying to push his way. I'm like, okay, I make sure I got this. Make sure my army's maxed up. Warp in here. Make sure I got all this. All right, and now I make sure my army's in the right position because I know where you're coming from. I have high Templar. I'm gonna start bringing from the top and the bottom to come and flank you from behind because you probably have like some ghosts trying to hit my main army. I'll have maybe one high Templar here, one high Templar there. I have 2 high Templar behind me. I'll come in and flank you with high Templars with my army. I'll have high Templars come from behind because a lot of Terrans will just over EMP and I'll get some storms in and they'll have high Templar come from behind you, right? Mm-hmm. All because you let me have the entire map, right? And I've never lost a game where Terran let me do that. So this observer stuff, you even have enough money right now. All right. You had enough money like a minute ago, 2 minutes ago, just build a Raven, right? You can just drop a 3rd starport down because you probably want two starports in the late game anyway, right? To produce Liberators and Vikings or something, because typically Protoss will probably go into Tempest. You usually get 6 Tempests just so they can 1-shot or 2-shot Thors, 1-shot, 2-shot Vikings, stuff like that. So having one with Reactor and one with Tech Lab isn't horrible. So, just get that Raven. You can always you don't even need to. You can just pick up this barracks, drop it down, and then have that barracks build the reactor. Use the Tech Lab from the barracks to build your Raven, and then when the barracks is done, pick up the barracks, put it back on the Tech Lab, pick up the starport, put it on the reactor, and you don't even need. You got 2 reactor starports, right? So you can do that. So. Right.
I could also try to get the Raven early in my build, and then try to keep it alive throughout the game.
And you have so many ghosts. Like cloak is so important. Like look at this. You have 5 ghosts here. And with scans, you just scan. You see no observer. You just cloak these motherfuckers. You go in there, you snipe some stuff or whatever. Like they're basically range DTs. Like I've lost games. I've lost games where they scanned. I had a Colossus, Stalker, whatever fucking army, okay? Archons, you name it. They scanned, their Vikings or ghosts took out my observer. They cloaked and pulled back, and the ghosts were just sniping, or not really sniping, but they're like focus firing down my Colossus and stuff. I'm like, fuck, run away. I need to get this observer. I need to get my observers, It's hard to storm on top of them. Yeah, like, these guys are no joke. Like, you could pick them up, just the ghosts. Drop them in the main base cloaked and start taking out pylons and stuff. Start sniping warp-ins, right? Where's he going to be warping in at? But yeah, cloak is so important. How much does cloak even cost? It's basically a free upgrade. It's one thing.
Yeah, I just have to remember to.
Yeah, cloak is so good.
All right, looks like it's already 2, so we should go watch StarCraft game.
But Yeah, but I'll say like I was really impressed with your play. Sometimes. I was like, damn, Slumdog, you've been practicing. I could tell. Like, I'd be afraid to play against this right now.
Well, I played puzzle with the same strategy 2 games before this, and he beat me 2 games.
Yeah, well, like after that initial push, you pretty much had double the supply the entire game. I was a little worried when he got High Templar tech and was stabilizing because he started catching up in supply.
Mhm.
But after that, you know, I was like, and then you just brought his supply down with the game. It's like, damn, man. It's like we have a chance. Some dog showing this GM who's boss.
Well, we beat him twice.
Yeah. Well, I think I have a little bit less rest than he did. Because he looked like he knew what he was supposed to do. He just didn't know the timings, and that's really big, is knowing timings. Like, how fast should you be expanding? How fast can you expand? When should you be pushing? When can you push? When should you stop pushing? When should you like run away from that Reaper? Because what I've been doing in ladder is like I'll get in there, I'll poke the SCV, I'll pull out, I'll wait until like 210, maybe 215. I'll put the Reaper back in. And I'll put my probe back in to finish killing the SCV while his Reaper's on the other side of the map. And then I'll pull the probe back out and hide it again. And then, you know, he can either try and find it with the Reaper if he didn't lose it, or putting proxy pylons down. Yeah. All right.
Looks like our opponent is still on a train.
Fire ferret, yeah. That's fine. I'm patient. We're patient. We want to get that win. Legitimate wins. Unless Fire Ferret loses, then we're like, oh no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So that's one thing I'll encourage is think the next step. Like, what can the opponent, like now that I've done huge damage, what can the opponent do to win the game? And then just counter that. For Protoss, it's usually going to be DTs or Storm, because that much damage he can't go past Gateway. Like he might be able to do Disruptor. No, I think Disruptor might have been able to do Disruptor. Disruptor might have been better. Like stop doing gas and going to Disruptors.
Yeah, I think either Disruptors, or if he did go High Templar, to use Warp Prisms with it. That way they can't get EMP'd.
It's really hard to use Warp Prisms with it. Yeah, like it's really hard. Maybe if I get into the Top Master stuff, I'll start trying that again. Because yeah. But typically a good play against those is Vikings. 2-4 Vikings. It's another thing is how much of what to make. Don't overmake Medivacs, don't overmake Liberators, don't overmake Vikings. And don't undermake them either.
Except in TVT you can spam Viking.
Well, you kind of have to. Like, Protoss vs. Protoss, you gotta spam Phoenixes sometimes. Right? Yeah.
Especially like if you're playing like mech versus mech, then like Vikings can just like land on tanks and Thors and stuff. It's pretty disgusting.
So some exceptions apply, but even still, like I think I've seen. Well, I guess professionals can do it. I've seen some professionals win with no Vikings or something.
Mm-hmm. You mean like with just Marine tank? Yeah.
Oh yeah, against the mech. Well, yeah, those are always the fun games. Like, I think the first time I saw an incredible game like that was like MVP versus some Zerg player. I think it was Nest T or whatnot. And Nest T was going Broodlords. MVP had like no Thors.
He had ghosts and he sniped them all.
No go. He didn't. He still was on bio, and he was like getting his first Thor out, and Nest T had like 6 Broodlords, and somehow with one Thor, like a bio army, he took out the Zerg army, all 6 Broodlords and stuff. It was like, damn. with like the worst composition, beating one of the best Zergs to ever play the game. Like, yeah, I remember what map it was on. I don't know the name. I could probably find it. But yeah, if you want, I could try and find that replay for you. So
I've probably seen it.
yeah, it was. So, like I said, the game's not over until they kill you. They still have to kill you. Yeah, I don't mean they have to kill like every single building, right? So.
Right.
Hey, sorry guys, I had to hop away. I got time for one game if you guys want to play anything. Otherwise, I may hop on ladder.
We're just waiting for Fire Ferret.
Are you gonna cast his game?
Yep. I guess he's turning on his computer now.
Oh, is Fire Ferret the one we were waiting on?
No, their team.
Okay, we're waiting on their team.
Yeah.
Heart of the Swarm ladder maps. Is it loading? Are there just no Heart of the Swarm ladder maps? Is that what's going on? Right, there we go. Unless it was some sort of desert one. How are these ladder maps? I've never played any of them. Oh yeah, fuck Terraform. Cactus Valley, always hated that map. Oops. Nope, stop. Was it this one? I think the map was Ohana.
Oh yeah, I remember that map. That was a pretty.
It was either Ohana or one that looked like it. I was a little worried about today's games because I was planning on practicing yesterday, but then I went over to some friend's house because they want to watch It 2 in the theaters. So Friday we were watching It 1, the first one, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna take away all my training time. And then I also did laundry and stuff, so. Yeah, it's never been a more true saying than the one to fear most, the one who's accepted death, which is why like don't leave the game just because you're getting your ass handed to you. Just warp in a bunch of units, walk across the map, and try and kill them, because you got nothing else to lose, right? And sometimes they're not ready for you. Like I was watching that Russian guy play. I forget his name.
Brad, okay?
He plays under Indie StarCraft.
Healy.
No, he plays under Indie StarCraft.
Oh, Indie.
Yeah. And like he was playing a PvP game. The guy came over, just whooped his ass and left. And then he's like, "Oh, I guess I'm just warping in units, YOLO." And he walked across the map and equalized the game. Because I think the guy did like he walked across with like a bunch of stalkers without blink and just killed his expansion and a bunch of stuff. And then he did the same thing.
Alright, here we go. Ace match.
Oh yeah, I tried pressing plus to speed it up. All right, ace match. Here's our Google's best player against Raytheon's best player. All right, let's get into the game. In the bottom right corner, we got you, not me, but you. And the top left corner, we got Fire Ferret. Yeah, the adorable little guy up here. Playing Terran vs. Terran. A match that one mistake, and you might as well just leave the game. So it looks like we probably got some proxying going on, so this will probably be a shorter game.
Oh, it's going to be 2 Rex Reap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you never really know.
Well, Fireferret's dead.
Well, 2 Rex Reaper? Well,
he's scouting. He's scouting.
Yeah. Well, don't you need both? Don't you send 2 SCVs across the map if it's 2 Rex Reaper?
Well, if it's 2 Rex Reaper, so that's why Terrans usually go gas first. But you can still hold it with he needs to build a bunker like here, and then he needs to put a depot here, and then he can hold it. But it's still pretty hard. He's gonna be
well. The second barracks is gonna be pretty late.
Well,
you sure it's not gonna be like a proxy barracks Reaper with proxy factory?
Well, this is kind of weird. He only has 1 barrack.
That's what I was saying.
What
It could be just a proxy. Yeah, it could just be a proxy Reaper.
Oh, they already start?
Yeah.
I'm streaming
Okay.
it right now.
So we got a Reaper here. So if he keeps his Reaper back, he'll be ooh. Marauder. Ooh. With an engineering bay block.
Oh.
So what's his name should do is pretty much just cancel that command center, throw up 2 more barracks and maybe a high ground bunker. I think that would be the appropriate response.
Does Fire Ferret no? He has no idea.
Because he can also throw down his command center on the high ground.
Oh, this is not good. He needs a bunker right away. The command center's not going up.
The command center should have been canceled. Oh, we got a factory though.
Oh, he sees it now.
And a reactor. So, alright, so he can't. So, alright. If he doesn't cancel the command center and blue focuses on the command center, that'll buy red enough time to stabilize.
But
so
Yu's getting his own command center, so he's just that pressure.
So it should have been canceled sooner and rebuilt on the high ground faster, because he would have had a little bit. Well, let's see. We got 300. They're about the same timing now, so that's good.
But Yu's is already on the low ground.
All right. Well, not bad. So the game didn't just automatically end.
Yeah, it's stabilized.
Yeah, technically.
But it's gonna be kind of hard to get that. Oh, it looks like he wants to try to snipe the depots.
Well, red can just float over here and be fine. Yeah. I wonder, how many Marines does it take to kill 2 Marauders?
I'd say 6. So at this point, I just let the depots die. Oh, I guess Firefighter doesn't want that to happen.
Oh, he should lower that depot so he can.
And then he
get
can
more
rush with the
Marines up.
SCVs. Right, he could use the SCVs
Yeah.
to fight with. 2 Marauders isn't really that much.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the units tab. We got 24 workers for blue, 18 for red. If the units lost, 8 units lost. We have type of units lost. Units killed. Control R. Nope, that's not it. Army. Wait, is there a workers lost tab?
L, I think. Oh no, that's not
L?
it. Control R. Yeah, Control R.
Okay, workers killed. Alright, that's not too bad. Red has only lost 3 workers. Blue's lost 5? How did blue lose any workers?
I don't even know. Maybe a Reaper got in. I didn't even see it.
Well, so red did make a Reaper, and that Reaper... we're not very good observers. But that Reaper did go somewhere, because it did not defend against it. So it makes sense that the Reaper did come back and kill. So even though blue is ahead in workers, he also lost the most. But blue's still in a better position. Now, blue does have a AFK SCV and built 2 missile turrets. And technically, blue can afford that because of blue's lead.
Actually, if Firefret pushes right now, he could probably do some good damage. He's got a much bigger army.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. He's also building his own Raven. So red's going for the 3rd command center.
What?
Which if red doesn't die, that'd be one good way to make a comeback. We have 30 to 41, so blue still is maintaining his 10+ lead. Fire Ferret's putting in some more bioproduction. We got 3 barracks against 3 barracks.
Has pretty good vision. He's sending Marines all over the place.
Yep. But as long as he keeps them alive. There's one way to lose the game is just to continuously feed
a Banshee does it have
your opponent things 1 Marine at a time.
Does the Banshee already have cloak? I can't tell. No, it does. It doesn't
No,
look like it.
you can just click on it. It's not highlighted, so we can go back and look. And it doesn't look like he's researching cloak either. So.
Even if he did, there's already a Raven out.
Mm-hmm.
Firefighter got a pretty fast
Yep.
there at CC to catch up.
And Fire Ferret did see the Banshee, and he's put some Marines with his Raven in his main base. So Fire Ferret should be able to handle that. And looks like he's building 1 turret in his natural, landing that 3rd base pretty soon. Still behind by a bunch of SCVs, so macro is not necessarily the most on point. Blue is overly defending. Doesn't need to be so scared, and has a much larger army.
That's a pretty good Banshee micro. He's killing off the Marine.
So I recommend playing. There's a couple good micro maps that I recommend playing. One of them is to kill like 6 Marines with one Banshee or something like that. You also get an achievement for completing that map. It's called StarCraft Master.
Oh yeah, no, I've done that one.
Yeah, Yeah.
And the last one is where you have to like pick up stalkers or pick up tank in a medevac to kill like a bunch of stalkers.
Yeah, and I'd say that's probably a good map to play every once in a while, as a good way to keep your skills up. So we got a Banshee coming in to maybe attempt to do some damage. If it comes to the wrong angle, this turret will pick it off. We got a late third base. Got some harassment on the third base for Fire Ferret. He's losing a lot of Marines to this. Probably needs Combat Shield and Stim. Eventually.
He's almost got a Stim down and then Combat Shield's cute.
Yeah, Stim is done now. It was a little bit late of a start. The Blue's riding up the gas a lot. So, how's Blue going to be spending that gas? Heavy Marine Army. Still leaving the tanks to defend.
Yep, 2 factory siege tank.
Yeah. Well, they're still not spending that gas, though. We got a tank in the main base. Also got 2 turrets, 3 turrets there.
The Raven and the Marines could still push out here.
All right. Well, we have an engagement. Looks like this could go pretty poorly if the.
You need like a Seeker missile.
Well, you need a siege tank. Siege it up right now. Oh, you could have picked up. They lifted.
So the Ravens could be used to disable the siege tank.
Yeah, but he's got a good siege tank spread. That'll defend his position. So, but if that one siege tank had been sieged with his Marines, that fight might have gone differently, or at least there would not have been as much Blue surviving.
So Yu isn't actually making very many siege tanks. He's mainly going by it. He's not producing out of his 2 factories here.
Yep, the barracks play is pretty good if you can overwhelm the opponent. I'd say Fire Ferret should be getting his production up a little bit faster.
Yu's also up on upgrade. So this push looks like it's gonna be.
Oh, right. You shouldn't engage. You should let the.
Oh, if you can get the Raven over, that's perfect.
Oh,
now he can't disable the siege tanks, and if you can move the siege tanks back there up, that'd be really good.
Yeah, he needs to come forward the siege tanks, because if the siege tanks get like right here, they'll have really good spot on that refinery. Maybe start getting some Vikings to shoot down the medevacs, get some air superiority, and push it back. Oh wow, pretty aggressive. The Red's tanks really should have been focused on the enemy's tanks. Well, we got some Marine on the top side of the map doing his hero work.
Oh, he needs to repair that command center.
Oh, no. Oh, he's going. He's going. That's good. He's got the... No, focus fire the tanks. Focus fire the tanks. Need to focus fire the tanks.
We're stable.
Yeah. We've stabilized, but at what cost? He's still producing medevacs. He's got a little bit too much medevacs. He could probably drop 2 more barracks.
So Yu has completely stopped making tanks. He's going full bio.
Yeah, that's not gonna. Full bio is not gonna win the game.
No, I think Harvard's gonna win this because he's actually making tanks.
Well, it depends if blue gets too big of a bio and takes out all the bio, the Marauders will shred these tanks up. That's one thing I learned from watching Tasia play back in the day, is he just walks in with enough bio, and the tanks get stemmed down pretty hard. Ooh. This does look like a pretty even game for the most part, though.
But this push is going to be like there's no tanks. There's nothing.
There's 2 tanks.
Oh, Yu has 2 tanks. Oh, there they are.
Yeah. Whenever I play turn, I always like to bring at least 1 SCV with me to repair. Ooh, that's good. That's a good shot. But yeah, Red does need some Vikings to get that air superiority, shoot down the medevacs. Because if you can he can go in and take out pretty much all the medevacs right now, and then the Steam Marines are pretty much, not good.
All right, use.
Too bad. Too bad.
Starting.
Too bad he doesn't know about the 4th base.
He does though, because there was a marine there.
Yeah. Well, did the marine die? Let's take a look. You looking here? Nope. The marine doesn't know. The marine was killed before the base was planted.
Looks like he wants to do. He's setting up for a flank.
Yeah, for.
I don't think it's gonna work. There's a lot of things.
For the sandwich. Well, don't underestimate the clan.
There we go.
It's working, actually. Because they don't focus fire tanks. Blue's focus firing a little bit of Red's tanks, but... And Blue's actually getting Vikings, the first one to get Vikings. Wow. That was pretty expensive.
Yeah, it was.
But we got we had a little bit of a run by in the natural. Yeah. Red's got to pull back. Red's got to make Vikings. Or Red has lost the game. And I don't see Vikings being produced.
Well, he just cleaned up the entire army.
We'll see about that. Got upgrade advantage by Blue. It's probably what's keeping him in the game for sure.
Perfect just started his 4th bit.
Still no Vikings. Right about now, Red should be really heading down the 2nd starport. Red should really pull back or reinforce his army with his supporting units.
Yeah, he should definitely pull back.
Because Blue is going to come in too much.
If Firefight can intercept those tanks, that'd be really good.
Yeah. Hopefully you might see that. Go, 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 go!
Nice!
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And the Bio's gonna die.
Yeah. Oh, pull back the Bio, pull back the Bio. Still no Vikings.
Use already 3-3.
Yeah.
Firefight hasn't started his 3-3 yet.
Yeah. Well, at least he's 2-2. Being 1 upgrade down is not as bad as 2 upgrades. But all that really matters is 1 less shot. I think maybe 2 less shots, which is a pretty big deal. All right. Well, looks like Red is going. Canceling this 5th base would be pretty nice. Intercepting these marine SCVs would be pretty good too. Although they're both kind of over.
Is gonna die.
Oh, it's gonna be a base race.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, there's oh damn.
Uh-oh. I think Firefight's might die here, actually.
You should have brought back the top. Yeah, when Firefight didn't produce any Vikings, that's when I started losing hope. Yeah, units being intercepted. On top of the production now. Tank is not sieged though, so he can go into that. He is counter-sieging the planetary force. It's like he did sacrifice his marines to try and kill it.
Lost a lot there.
Yeah, but this planetary is down. If he can somehow not die, it looks like it's over. It's too much on top of his production, and his rally points are a bit bad.
And there's a huge army back at home too.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to rebuild. It's not bad. He almost cleaned up that army. There's not too much to save here. Or to say here.
18 workers.
What is blue doing? Like he's went right past the starport. Super jukey starport. Yeah. I probably would have GG'd, especially after I saw that sensor tower that pretty much says, here's another base of mine.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a lot of orbitals, which is good. So you can be efficient and either mine with mules or drop down other stuff.
Oh, just started 3-3. It's time to go to the late game.
Yeah. It was a pretty close match. Up until like end of mid game.
Good game.
Good game.